Also, I mean, I keep cracking this joke with a couple of my friends. After engineering, I became a very hot chick, because it became Puneeth BA, BE, and I started feeling like a babe. I was going through all the other panelists as well. And I saw that everybody's name had a description that spoke about one nice corporate company that they were working for, and only on my profile it was mentioned just as actor filmmaker. I started panicking because what if my parents see this and they feel like this guy is zero return on investment. I mean, we've spent so much and this guy doesn't call himself an engineer. And also on the other side, some of you who must have seen this whole speaker panel list must have felt this guy is some crazy guy. He must have just quit his profession to do something crazy in life. So I wanted to disappoint both of them. So I am somebody who's been juggling both my profession and passion. I think it's something to do with the engineers. They are just not happy with one thing. All of you guys, you're starting your engineering now. I think in the next 4 years you will be out in the industry. I wouldn't call it just corporate jobs because I don't know what kind of jobs each one of you want to do and what kind of jobs each one of you want to pick. But then 4 years later, trust me, the job world is very positive. It is very compassionate. Definitely the job world is going to have big business leaders talking about big finance numbers, the headcounts, the big curves, profit, loss, everything. And then there will be big technology leaders talking about artificial intelligence, data science, machine learning, and how do we make this world a great place to live in through technology. But then what will come in between these two guys are people leaders who is going to ensure marriage of business and technology. People leaders who will strongly root for great culture at workplaces. When I say culture, I mean, it's funny that many times we mistake culture to cultural activities, and think about the la land that people can create and call it, we have great culture. That's not culture in my opinion. Culture to me is the way these organization talks to its people, the way it listens to its people, and that to me is strong culture. And people leaders will ensure these organizations will have great culture for people to work with. I am a strong believer of this thing. Like in few years, just say another 5 to 6 years, if there is a company that's talking about great infrastructure, we have big buildings, we have great lab spaces, we take people out on team dinners, do all the la things, I don't think that will fascinate people anymore. That's going to be basic hygiene that every company should do. What will fascinate people is great work culture and how the company responds to your interests and engage with you based on your interests. So exactly why I'm saying, all of you, please be ready, and you don't have to be, hesitant to open up and say what you're really interested in, talk about what your real interests are, be extremely vulnerable and take up the opportunities that come your way, and be dynamic enough to go ahead and do what you want to do. Just last year, sometime I think during the second wave had just faded off, and then one of my managers at work, we were on a call and she just asked me, Puneeth, are you doing something outside of work these days? Because they are all aware of things that I'm doing outside of work, and she was like, are you doing something outside of work? I just told her, no, the last 2-3 months has been very overwhelming, and I think I'm just focusing on my work at the company, and I'm not finding time to do it. Her immediate response was, Puneeth, stop. Take a week's break, and I want you to go outside and do what you're interested in. And these are people leaders that I'm talking about. People who are empathetic, people who are compassionate, people who know what your real passion is and encourage you for it. And again, I'm telling you, she didn't want to sound very saint or be a very good person just by saying this. She also was very clear why she wanted me to go and do that. Because the job that I do involves a lot of creativity, a lot of people connect, a lot of people topics that I need to drive. So she knows the more and more I go outside and explore, I bring in that kind of an experience back to my company and add a lot of value to my work. Right? So this juggle game has been extremely interesting for me as well, because there is great cross learning that happens, because I am working in a corporate industry where it's a very highly organized and structured madness that goes into the system, and then there is the field of cinema, which is an unorganized madness that is happening. But then when I try to bring my learning from both these zones and try to play around, there is a lot of benefit that I'm making out of both these worlds in terms of learning, and also offer a lot of value from my side to both these fields. Anything that you do, you want to call it a goal, you want to call it a dream, you want to call it a task, it's up to you, but then have a strong purpose. The purpose can be as simple as I am doing this just to pass time. That is still a purpose, but then have this purpose. It could be as simple as I am going to do this for money. That's still a purpose. I'm going to do this for the sake of learning. That's still a purpose. But define this purpose before you head out to do something. Why I'm saying this is because out of my experience, many times we set out to do things just randomly out of the blue. You wake up in the morning, you think there is some exciting thing that you want to do. You go midway and then you look for purpose. But you have come so far that you can't go back. You have come somewhere in the middle, but you don't want to go and reach the destination. That's a bad state to be in. So please have a very concrete purpose of why you do things. You are your biggest brand ambassador. And nobody else can tell your story like you can. So all the best, guys. You're definitely in a great place.